Hey guys, welcome back to the ministry, and today we are talking about elevated. Even if no one accepts it, like it or not, God already did it. God has already done what you asked for. In the book of Daniel, Daniel went on a 21-day fast. And everybody calls it the 21-day fast. But what Daniel actually did was he called himself standing in the gap for the period of time it took for him to get the answer he was seeking. So had he got the answer he was looking for on day 3, it would have been a 3-day fast. Had he gotten the answer he was looking for on day, 15, it would have been a 15-day fast. But he got it in 21 days. But what happened is the angel came to Daniel and said, the day you prayed the prayer, the answer was on the way. I was on the way to bring you your answer the second you prayed it. I got held up by the prince of Persia, had to call in Archangel Michael, and we had to fight him off, and that's why it took so long for us to bring you this answer. God has already done the thing you asked for. The only thing that you are really waiting for is one of two things: your maturity or for it to reach you. Because the second you prayed it, the sad thing about when you pray, especially enriching, highly anointed, very abundant prayers, we have an enemy and an adversary called the devil that really don't like it. See, that's what the siren's for. Siren's giving you confirmation. Yes, we had an enemy and an adversary known as the devil, and he don't like when you actually receive what it is that you prayed for. So what he does in his stead is that he comes to fight it. He brings about delay, attack after attack, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, situationally, what your eye gates see, what you taste, what you smell, what you touch. Any way he can bring it, he gonna bring it. Just to make it hard. But it says in the word that in Galatians 6 and 9, you will reap a harvest if you do not faint. You will pray for something, and especially if it's an extensively important thing. For instance, marriage. Marriage is not the white dress. Marriage is not the husband in the suit. That's not marriage. That is not, sorry to tell you that. That is not marriage. Marriage is you connecting with another human being that you don't have no control over. That is going to come into agreement with you, that you're going to have children with, that you have to cover these children in prayer, with fasting, against warfare, against generational curses, whether it be on your side or his side, your husband's side. You got to cover your husband in prayer. You got to cover your household in prayer. You got to cover what God has anointed you to do. what God has anointed the both of you to do. And prayerfully you got a husband that is willing to pray with you, because some people do not. And it means that the wife is praying way more over everything. God already showed me that my biggest weapon is kneeling at the side of the bed and praying. So I can just get over it just being... I may have the anointing, I may have the skill sets, I may have the gifts and the talents. My biggest weapon is sitting at the edge of the bed and praying on my knees. Period. But the point of the thing is, the day that you asked for it, whether it was your marriage, whether it was for money, whatever it was for, the day that you asked for it, it was released. You're going to walk into it. All you've been suffering is the enemy saying, no, we don't want you to walk into it. All you've been suffering is the enemy recognizing that you had extra angels assigned to you and that were trying to usher you into the thing that you were called to, and you were sitting up there saying, why am I under warfare? Because the enemy saw the angels were coming to bring you the answer, and now you're acting brand new because you're gonna get what you prayed for. You're gonna get it. It's just, you got some things you gotta go through first. Yeah. It takes time. It takes energy. But you're gonna reach your goal. It just may take time. It may not. There are things that you will pray for today that you may not get for 7 years. You may not get them for 10 years. I know Apostle, he didn't get his for, he's still waiting on his, and the Lord told him that he was going to be financially well off 25 years ago. So, it's not that it's not coming, it's that sometimes it takes time. And sometimes God's got to prepare you for what you're about to receive. Because I'm that person that's audacious enough to pray prayers for something that is extremely huge. I don't just sit up there and say, Lord, can you get me rent money so that I can move into my own place? It would be really nice. I'm that person, look, Lord, you are a God that said in your word that I have the ability to receive cattle on 1,000 hills, which means I can receive vineyards that I did not plant, houses that I did not build. So if I can receive houses that I did not build, it's nothing for you to give me a $300,000 mansion. It's nothing for you to give me a $350 million mansion. It's nothing for you to give me houses in Europe, in Paris, and traveling to the Maldives, and traveling to Turks and Caicos, and all over the world. It's nothing for you to give me. It's nothing for you. It's nothing for you to give me billions of dollars. But I'm Christian. Oh my God, you're Christian. How can you ask for millions of dollars? Well, seeing as the Lord had a purpose for me, and a lot of missions that need to be done can't be paid for with osmosis. For example, if I'm supposed to feed the hungry, let's see, if I'm supposed to get a fleet of trucks to feed the homeless, first I have to pay for the trucks, then I have to pay for the housing of the trucks, I have to pay for the fuel of the trucks, I have to pay for the mileage of the trucks, and gas prices right now are ridiculous. I have to pay for food. Food costs has doubled and tripled. all this kind of stuff. And then you start calculating all of that, and then you have to have the people that are going to drive the trucks, the people that are going to take the food that needs to be flown to other countries in areas that have no food, needing to have cooks, a fleet of cooks, and so on and so forth. And that's just for the food part. I ain't even talking about what's the other thing God called me to? He called me to music. You know how much it costs for a musician to, 1, create the music, 2, promote the music, 3, to do the touring, 4, the shows, how big the shows are, what's the elaboration of the show, the stage, the this, the that, how much technical know-how and savviness, costumes, the... Oh yeah, there's money needed for that. You realize that sometimes it costs up to $1 million, $2 million just for a performer to do a show set in a year or more? Are you kidding me? What else? Fashion. Now, I studied fashion design. If a person comes out with a fashion line, now on the baby scale, yeah, you can do it for cheap. But if you're going to be in rooms, and big spaces with high-end people, you're making haute couture. You have to have designers. You have to have stylists. You have to have people that are running the shows. You have to have all of these types. You got to be able to rent the venues, the spaces, the this, that, and the other. Or maybe you're running conferences because you're a coach, which means you're speaking in different places and spaces. So you have to be able to rent out conference spaces, pay for tickets, pay for the space to be rented out. All of this kind of stuff. You think that a person doesn't need $1 billion as a Christian? And then to be able to take that money that was made to put it into places like churches, philanthropy efforts. Because yes, I'm going to have my own philanthropy efforts, but I do have places that I respect and ministers that I respect that I give my 30% to. Meaning my home church gets my 10, and then I give another 10 to the split over the ministries that I want to be a part of, and I want to join their partnerships, and then I have another 10% that I just give away because that's my giving, meaning I'm going to bless somebody with that out of the whole pie, whatever that whole pie is. You know what I'm saying? So yes, money is necessary for ministry. People, I don't understand people as if they say that you should not ask for money. That is a pharisaical, blasphemous observation. I'm sorry. What's wrong with people? What is wrong with people? Point. God was going to give that to you, but guess what? You have to have the capacity to see $1 billion in your bank account and not say, oh, I'm going to Fendi and I ain't coming out. As a minister, I listened to Dr. Jola Whitaker. She said, could God trust you with money, and that when the money hits your bank account, that you're not going to go into Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Burberry, and we ain't going to be able to find you no more. And you know something? I'm going to say this. Rich people that are intelligent ain't running around in Gucci, Fendi, and all that kind of stuff. They walking around in Target clothes. Or they're walking around in their own brand. Let's just be honest, which is probably sold at Target. Am I lying? Am I lying? Oh, I thought I wasn't. So, yeah, money is necessary. But in order to carry that money, God has to prune and prep you. And sometimes that takes 3, 5, 7 years, depending on how you are with money. And sometimes the enemy, because he knows that the Lord is supposed to give you money, he gonna come and get your finances 15 times harder. I know people. I've heard the stories. I am one of the stories of how hard the enemy comes after your money when you're trying to do something good and for God. So there's warfare that comes with that. But the answer is coming. How many of you have been and you have seen multiple words? You've been given multiple words. You have been noticing that the word occurrence or the statement that they speak to you. For example, I'll admit this. We talked about marriage. I wrote a letter to my future husband. I wrote that letter 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. It was about 6, 7, about 7 years ago. Then I wrote another one in 2018 because I could not find the original. And at the time I wrote that second letter, within 24 hours, I walked into the house and my father was listening to music. And the song came on my phone and it was called Dear Future Husband. Pause. I'm going to make this point because this is so... God always makes sure these words are timely. This morning I was listening to a ministry word from Dr. Jolynn Whitaker, and she was talking about the signs that the Lord will give you when he's preparing to do something. Now, I can't tell you how many confirmations I get on my marriage. Daily. Daily. But she was talking about God's going to give you a sign. And even me mentioning this in this ministry video, it could be considered a sign and it can be considered alignment. Because even the title of this is a word that I didn't get a chance to watch yet by Lady Jeremiah. It's on my queue in my phone or on any of my devices to watch, where she was talking about the Lord is saying that it's already done. This word is already done. And it's not because I thought it was a good idea to name this word what I named it. Because as you can see, it's an extended title. It says elevated, even if no one accepts it, like it or not, God already did it. Her word is already already done. So all of these things are coming into alignment, even the words that I am speaking. And this is a word from, let me see if I can see it, what the date is. Who was this? Can I? Normally, if I run my finger across it, it shows me the date that it originally was posted. But this was like May 2018, somewhere around there. Yeah, I wrote this. So it's still in alignment all these years later. God is doing the work. Numbers 23:19. God is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should change his mind. He said, and he will do what he said. Or has he spoken, and will he not fulfill it? So you see, God will always give you a sign. Oh my God. It's just hilarious to me. God will give you a sign to what it is that he is doing in your life. A lot of us aren't in tune to hear him because we refuse to be willing to hear him at the time that he is speaking to us. We allow ourselves to get distracted. We see God is always willing to see his children prosper. He wants to see them happy. He wants to see them in a state where they are receiving everything that he wants to give them, because his word says our Father gives good gifts, and he does. God wants to give us everything that we've asked for or prayed for, but when we ask for things that are exceedingly abundantly greater, because if we have the audacity to do so, it's going to take some time for those things to get to us. We need not get weary in well-doing or get tired. God had to prune me for 4 years in a season that I would have never wanted to go through. If it had been my choice, and if God told me I was going to go through that, I might have been like, I don't know if I want to do that. If I knew ahead of time. But I'm that person, if you put me in it, I'm like, okay, God, we here. What you need so I can get out of this? Let's do this. What you need so we can get to the end of this season. Because I won't get to the end of this season. Because what I think about that keeps me in seasons that I know God is pruning me is I think about Elijah. I think about Elijah running away from Jezebel when she threatened to kill him. And he said, just take me up, God. Just take me up. He's like, okay, I'll take you up, but you got to anoint Jehu. You got to anoint a king and a prince or somebody. And you got to anoint your replacement. Jehu was the prince, I think. And then he had to anoint another king. And he had to anoint his replacement, which was Elisha. That means he had enough power within him to anoint 3 different people with all of his power. That's how much power he had in him, but he was terrified and afraid. This is what the enemy does to us. We are in seasons that the Lord is testing us, and then the enemy is playing with us, and then we're going through delay after delay after delay after delay, and it feels like something's sitting on our back when we trying to move forward, and we gotta sludge through trying to get over that heaviness on our back while we still trying to do the work in which God's showing us that we need to do, because the work still needs to be done even though something's sitting on us. And it's like we're like, as my Dr. Julian Whitaker says, the enemy tries to exhaust the saints, because if he can't stop what God is doing for us, but he can stop us if we are willing to be stopped. But we got to continue to push forward. We got to keep moving. We got to keep moving forward. We got to keep moving into it. And it's exhausting. It is. It's tiring. You may feel sick to our stomach. We may feel uncomfortable. We may what have you. But it is what it is. And the enemy will send, I know when I pray my most fervent sometimes, the first thing that comes after me, immediately after, is illness. I can't count how many times that I've gone into certain type of warfare in the spirit, and within 24 to 48 hours of that warfare, I was sick as 3 dogs. And I was like, what in the world is this? Sometimes it's warfare, meaning it's attack against your body because of the fact that you broke something in the spirit. 2, it can be deliverance, meaning you're being delivered from whatever it was that the enemy had on you, and when you went into that intense prayer space, it caused and allowed the enemy, it allowed what the enemy did to break off of you, and it flushed out your system. But to you, it felt like somebody made you sick as a dog. It was deliverance. So, and as children of God, we have to go through it. It's, we don't like it. We don't like having to flush out all that nastiness that's in us. But it's a reflection of the nastiness and the sin and the things that come upon us as children of God. We have to go through ministerial cleansing, when we have to go through flushing of our systems, when we have to go through purging, because we're getting delivered from all of the gunk. Some people don't like it. They don't like going through deliverance. It's a necessity as a child of God, because it's preparing you gradually for each level. Because with every level, some people say every level is a new devil. And with every level, there's new language for that new level you're on. There's new sets of people you're going to have to deal with. I already know the level that I'm going on. Oh my goodness. Jesus be offense. Thank God that you're sending me a God-ordained spouse, because he already know how to deal with that level. I don't. But God is moving, and God is shifting things. God is preparing and shifting and blessing and transitioning things, and it is what it is. I don't even know if when I shift, I'll be able to continue to make these videos, but I'm going to do as many as I can while I can. And if I get time, I will sit down and I will continue to do these ministry videos, because this ministry means a lot to me, because it means something to God. God gave it to me, and I want to be obedient to continue to do what God showed me. And as God gives me new messages and shifts me and gives me new understandings, then I will share it. I'll get wisdom on how to share, because as things shift for me, there are certain things I may not be able to openly say. But as He gives me wisdom, I will give you real life examples. Let me put it that way to you. Because I want to make sure that I'm stewarding this ministry correctly, but I also need to know that I'm stewarding what God is giving me in that season correctly, because without exposing it. I already know there are monitoring spirits. I'm going to tell you this much. There's a monitoring spirit that's been monitoring me for a while, and it monitors through different people. I don't know if it thinks that I don't know that it's there or what have you. But yesterday, I was asleep, and the Lord allotted me the ability to wake up ever so slightly and be able to see it. You know, that half sleep, half awake, meaning you can see your surroundings in the actual space that you are, which means you are awake. But you can see some spiritual things physically because you're not fully awake. And what I saw is something I've seen before, which is a figure that was within eye range on the same balcony I'm sitting on. And I knew it was spiritual because where I saw them, they could only be floating. I'm on the 13th floor, so for me to see them where I saw them, and they were looking through the grates of this fence. So I knew that it was something trying to monitor me in the spirit. And I was like, oh, okay. I see you. I see you. And this happens when you're being prepared to go into a new season, because there are demonic presences that do not want to see you get where you're going. So they want to monitor, but Stephanie P made the point of saying the other day, she said, yeah, where you're going, the enemy can watch, he can monitor, he can do all he wants. All he better do is sit there and eat some popcorn, because he ain't going to be able to stop it. Because you're going to get there anyway. You're going to get there anyway. There are curses that are rebuked. You rebuke them by the blood of Jesus. You go into the courts of heaven, put out restraining orders against people, places, monitoring spirits, weak-minded people. Because of the fact that God is in control, He will change all of the situations in order to show you that He is the one in power in order to deliver you. God is in control. You will get to your destination even if you do not know how. But He will give you the wisdom to get you there. When God delivers you, He is delivering you completely. You cannot go back to the old things that you used to love and need in this brand new season, because of the fact that beautifully and wonderfully are you made by God. And He plans to put you on display for the rest of the world to see at that time. But you have to be willing to get ready for it. And in the season that you're in, that may seem like it takes a year, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years, He's preparing you for that. Think about the people in the Bible. David was anointed to be king at age 17, but he didn't become king until what, 40? Somewhere around that. Look at how many years that was. That was 23 years. Abraham was told his wife was going to give birth to a child, and they didn't have that baby for another 25 years. So He prepares you in that time frame and place. You are about to walk in it, and walk in it fully and completely. Are you ready? Because it's ready and it's done. It's ready because the door is about to open and you're about to catapult into your destiny you could never have dreamed of. This morning I was reading, what was I reading? Psalms 126. It will be as if you dreamed it. For you will laugh and joy, and there will be children of Zion, and so on and so forth. But it will be as if you dreamed it. The blessings God's about to release into your life that you cannot stop, baby, it's going to be as if you dreamed it, because they are going to be so monumentally different than what you could expect. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to record videos during this time frame when the Lord start really releasing the stuff that He's about to release into my life, because I'm going to be overwhelmed with the fact that, oh my God, God is doing it. And I'm be sitting there like, this is happening. I can't even express, and I can't even share with y'all what it is that He's doing until the Lord give me permission to. But I'll be able to say, He doing it. Because you'll see my setting changed. When you see my setting change, no. He done did it. He's did it. He's about to do something major. And it'll be in every area of my life. My ministry. For marriage. For money. For all of it. All of it. Because it's His will. It's His desire. For He knows the plans that He has made for me. But this is Tajma Cameron. Until next time, much love, faith, peace, and blessings. Bye-bye.